You're listening to Uncoupled and Unfiltered, the show for people smart enough to get out of the wrong relationship and bold enough to do it without losing their damn minds. Hosted by Ksenia Mensch, a divorce strategist and straight-talking badass, this podcast is your no-fluff, no-shame, take-control guide to surviving litigated divorce with clarity, guts, and zero regrets. Let's get into it. Here's Ksenia.
You're listening to Uncoupled and Unfiltered, where we explore all facets of divorce, including what it means to come home to yourself, especially after life takes an unexpected turn. Today's guest is someone who truly embodies the power of transformation. I'm joined by Shadi Sadeghi, a transformational coach and energy practitioner with over 17 years of experience, who helps people reconnect with their inner wisdom, release what no longer serves them, and step boldly into the next chapter of their lives. Through a deep soul-centered process rooted in Jungian psychology, social neuroscience, and Eastern philosophy, Shadi intuitively guides clients through the path of individuation to awaken to their true self and align with their deeper purpose. Using tools like shadow work and dream analysis and active imagination, her clients uncover and integrate unconscious patterns, release emotional resistance, and reclaim authenticity with clarity and confidence. So if you've been feeling stuck, burned out, or unfulfilled, this conversation is a gentle reminder that the most powerful breakthroughs frequently come after everything falls apart. So get comfortable and let's get started. Shadi, welcome to Uncoupled and Unfiltered, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Ksenia. I'm so delighted to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have this conversation. It feels a lot of it is going to be a lot of unknowns that we're going to uncover because your work and what you do is sometimes very hard for people to comprehend. So I want to start. What led you to become transformational coach and energy practitioner? What pivotal moments did you experience in your life to get here?
Sure. So this was never the plan.
That's what you think.
Right? That's how it works, right? Yeah, I've worked for somebody else ever since I was 15 years old. I've worked in the corporate world. I had an amazing last position at the second largest employer in Washington, D.C., the Children's National Health System,
Mhm.
and had a really cool job. I was an international traveler. I cultivated international relationships. And I really could have rode out that career, but as I was stuck in certain dating patterns a few years ago, many years ago in my own life, and I had, the 17 years of experience is really my personal development experience. I have
Mhm.
probably read every book. I've done therapy. I've done it all. I've tried them all. I've tried all the things.
Mhm.
And when I found a Jungian coach, it was profoundly uh, different in the shifts that I was seeing in my life and in myself. And so when I started to go down that road with this Jungian coach, that's when I was like, oh, what is this all about? And so I started to study and learn about I had read about the unconscious mind. The book The Secret had come out like 15 years ago, and I was like, oh, like I believed in that. I knew that we can be in the driver's seat, but then which I didn't understand that it was really our conditioning that's in the driver's seat for most
Mhm.
people. And so it was when I got my own coach and I started to see big changes in my own life. I mean, even in my career, in every facet of my life, things were blossoming, and I was starting to feel more confident and empowered and intentional about creating my life instead of feeling like life is happening to me. And so when I started to do that, I was like, you know what? And my mentors had a accredited program as well. They were training coaches. So I was like, let me just do this for fun. Let me just get trained and certified for fun because I wanted to understand my own mind. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, now that I'm on this road, I'm never going back. And so you start to see the world differently. And you and
Mm-hmm.
I have had personal conversations as well about like you start to see that we're the director, we're the writer, we're the editor, we're the actor of our own lives. And
Mm-hmm.
we're writing the script. And when you start to see life in that way, it really changes things. So I became trained and certified, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing. And in my own life, I was implementing it in my own life. And then I didn't know at the time, but the path of individuation, Jung's approach to individuation is actually the Western approach to the path of enlightenment. So it is really becoming led by soul. So you start leading your life with more purpose and soul.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I decided that corporate was no longer for me and I became a coach and I started to coach clients and it just felt like this is my mission, this is my purpose to help others through this path.
That's incredible. It's self-awareness took you on a path to
Right?
fulfill your
Yeah.
purpose of life. So
Yep.
I think a lot of people would understand what transformational coach is, right? Like it's you transform life, you make me feel better about myself, you help me rediscover who I am. I feel energy work is a little more of a woo-woo and misunderstood field. And since this is a part of what you do, I wanted to ask a few questions about that. So how do you define energy? What is it?
Sure. So energy is energy. So okay. So energy really is our emotions. And everything is made of energy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So emotions are energy in motion, essentially. So energy is, in a way, it is the unseen. So if you look at, for example, the atom, 99.9999999% is empty space.
Mm-hmm.
So it's completely empty. There's no matter. It's non-physical. And so in Jungian psychology, I mean, he never actually used the word energy. It is really a overarching umbrella word term that I use now freely. It is essentially embodying more life force energy, more pure consciousness, more awareness. That is how I perceive energy. And
Mm-hmm.
so emotions, when they become stagnant or repressed or trapped, then in a way, that energy also, that life force energy is blocked in us. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is also covered in Eastern philosophy with the Kundalini energy. And it is essentially the life force energy within us that wants to be freed so
Mm-hmm.
that we can be our true selves.
So that leads me to the next question. You just brought up when it's blocked energy. I know from my personal experience, it affects your mind, body, soul, like your entire existence. Even your everyday life reflects that you have blocked energy. How do you describe blocked energy? What are the signs?
So this overlaps, pretty nicely with the depth psychology, which is the study of the unconscious mind. So what is quote unquote trapped or blocked or unconscious to us could be inherited. It could
Mm,
be something that we're born with, or it could be through our life experiences that if you have a car accident, for example, when you're a young child, obviously there might be physical circumstances around that, like, whiplash, but there could also be like terror and fear.
mm-hmm,
And in that moment, in a moment of survival, typically most humans are in survival mode. They cannot possibly process every emotion that's coming up, right? And so
mm-hmm,
what happens is that the mind is very efficient, like a computer. It's very efficient in that it says, okay, you know what, we're going to put that on hold, we're going to put that on the shelf. And what happens is it goes into the unconscious to come back later. And so what happens is that energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be changed. So it stays, that emotional energy, that charge stays in our energy field in our body. And over time, it can compound and start to, number one, it drives our intentions, our behaviors, our actions, our thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
know it or not. It is the root cause of our behavioral patterns and our habits. That's why many habits are sometimes inherited, smoking, cancer. It is created from that, or it can start to adversely affect your organs. It can drive you, for example, I'll give you, an example of anger, if it's repressed, because we're so often conditioned that anger is not okay
Mm-hmm.
to express or to feel. So it's automatic, autopilot. We kind of push it away whenever we feel like anger. Some people do, or some people will lash out. That is processed by the liver, our organs process, and this is also in Chinese medicine. So our organs process different emotions. It's processed by the liver. Many people with anger issues drink. And so where does, liver problem, what does alcohol do? It affects the liver. It can cause
Mm-hmm.
cirrhosis. And so what they're doing is they're trying to cope with an uncomfortable emotion, but instead they're drinking. And so what happens is it's creating this pattern of repressed anger leads to drinking, which then leads to liver problems. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
it can cause anything, really.
Mm-hmm. So, but it's better for you to be in this uncomfortable moment for a little bit so you can align your body. It's almost health of your body and soul if you figure out how to be in that moment, regardless of how uncomfortable it is.
Precisely. It's so funny because you can even have like a Navy SEAL who has gone into like intensive training to, use a gun to protect human beings or to be very skilled in his training, but he's terrified to feel any sort of intimacy. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just a sensation in the body that we have been conditioned. And sometimes we've learned from, culture or society or family to repress those emotions, but it's just a sensation in the body.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Well, I think there are two most feared feelings that people are uncomfortable to be on its own with. That is vulnerability, because you feel if you're opening yourself up, you're opening yourself up
Those.
to hurt and pain and being lonely. And I feel people are so afraid of being lonely. It's almost like a scarlet ladder. Oh, I'm going to do this. I need to stay busy. Not understanding that I think they're actually people who are afraid of those feelings, poisoning themselves more by allowing experiences or energies of others into their lives.
Just to avoid the feeling.
Yes.
So typically what oftentimes I will ask a client, like, what are you avoiding? Or I ask myself, I'm like, what am I avoiding? Because it's so subtle. And, your mind wants to protect you. And so if you have been taught that feeling is a liability, or you're
Mm-hmm.
going to die if you slow down and feel, right? If we're in survival mode from childhood, especially, then it's an automatic pattern to just not feel. And we didn't come to this planet, like we didn't incarnate. We're not here on this beautiful planet to run away, to avoid. We are not
Mm-hmm.
just here to be blissed out all the time either. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
what the hell is life if it was the same, if it was sunny and happy and joyful every single day? Well, it starts to get a little boring after a while. You know what I mean? Like, we are meant to experience all the colors of the rainbow in terms of emotions.
Yes. So, do you have any easy practice the listeners can try today to reconnect with their true self? So, is there any easy, there's never easy fix. There's nothing that works in one time. I understand that. But is there something that can be like, okay, got it. I've rebalanced myself today?
Yeah. So it's important to check in with yourself when you wake up in the morning because the monkey mind, the chatter mind, tends to go to survival mode all the time. And so you're not really creating from intention if you allow your mind to just always focus on fear and what's going wrong, because it's serving a purpose. It's trying to protect you and keep you alive, but it's not meant to give you success and happiness and fulfillment. So you really want to become intentional. I suggest either the night before or in the morning, check in with yourself and notice how you're feeling and allow yourself to sit with whatever discomfort you're feeling. And then refocus your mind, because it's like a wild horse, to your intention, whether the intention is for the day. What intentions do you have for today? What intentions do you have for the week? What intentions do you have for the month or for your life? You may have a general intention of, I just want peace. If you refocus your mind to that every day, your mind is going to start to look for it. So you're giving your mind the task of doing that. Now,
Mm.
connecting with your true self, um, you can do that anytime. You can, when you're making a choice or decision, you can ask yourself, is this from my fear, my ego, or is this from my soul, from love? Because they two cannot coexist at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. And so, or it doesn't even have to be from love. It can be from authenticity. Because if I'm feeling like crap, I'm not going to just cover it with peace and love and light. I'm going to be like, no, I feel like crap right now. And I need a moment. I need to take a walk up by the beach. That's
Mm-hmm.
authenticity. So you're actually being your true self when you're being real and honest with yourself in that moment, but you don't let it drive. Do you see what I'm saying? So then
Yes.
I check in and, okay, if my true self were to show up right now, where would she guide me? And then it's like, you know what? I want to get back to work, or I want to call a friend up and check on a friend. You know what I'm saying? So it comes
Mm-hmm.
from a different place. Your actions and decisions come from a different place.
So you mentioned ego and authenticity, and I did want to ask because it always makes me wonder, how do you know if it's your ego talking or if it's your intuition speaking to you? How to decipher? Because sometimes it gets so intermingled that you're like,
Totally.
I do not know what it means. So is
Yes,
there like physical signals that you can understand
absolutely.
ego, intuition?
Absolutely. Intuition is calm and quiet, and it it's not careless, but it is like it's okay whatever you do. It's almost like the unconditional parent. So this is different from acting on intuition. I'll come back to that. Ego feels restrictive, reactive, fearful. It's emotionally charged.
Hmm.
Intuition is not emotionally charged, it's neutral. And so what happens is you'll just have an idea and you'll be like, okay, intuition, boom, I have a post idea. I'm going to start writing this down. Or but if it's emotionally charged, even in a positive way, and that's okay. So if you have compulsion to do something like work out every day, and I have to, have to go at 9 a.m. and I have to work out for at least 2 hours and blah 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 blah, that's your ego. But that's okay, because if as long as your ego is serving your goal, your ego is supposed to serve you, but you don't want
Mm-hmm.
your ego running the show. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
it's serving your larger purpose or vision. So if your larger vision and purpose is peace, wellness, and good health, the physical body, then you want, the ego to serve that. But intuition. So in a moment of, um, like for example, I remember reading about somebody that was just starting to get in touch with her intuition, and she said that she went on a plane and she got on the plane, and then she was like, she just heard a voice that was like, you should probably get off. And she thought, and it's illogical. Often intuition is illogical. It makes no sense. For me, it was, you should quit corporate and move to Italy. That was my intuition. It's like it's guiding us, right? It's a soft, neutral guidance. So in that
Mm-hmm.
situation, if I'm led by, if I'm like trying to be logical and I'm going to be like, no, I don't want to get off. That's okay too. Intuition is going to be like, okay, that's fine. I'm here. I'm guiding you, but you can decide. You have free will. So I
Mm-hmm.
can choose to stay on the plane. But in this case, the girl listened to it and she's like, okay, my intuition is telling me to get off the plane. So she got off the plane. She's like, I have no idea why her partner was annoyed. And she got off, and then the plane ended up staying on the tarmac for like 3 or 4 hours and was delayed, and then ended up being canceled anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So her was like seeing that, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
its intuition is divine, right? It sees things that go beyond the logical mind. I mean, and it's okay if the person decides not to listen to their intuition and says, and the thing is, even if she got off the plane and the plane took off and everything was fine, right? But her intuition led her to get off the plane. That's okay too. Because maybe she's sitting at a bar and she's having a conversation with someone next to her, and all of a sudden it's a long lost cousin. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yes.
you don't know unless you tune in and it's really about just trusting yourself no matter what. So even if the intuition is like not, and you don't get the answer, and you're like, because the ego is going to look for answers, like, okay, you told me to get off this plane. I'm off this plane. Now what's going to happen?
Yeah. So
It could
why?
be like,
Why?
why? Yeah, why am I listening to myself? You beat yourself up, like, why did I do this? Now I'm like out $400 for this plane ticket, and blah, 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 right? It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. You are building a muscle. So intuition is a muscle, and it's really a self-trust muscle that you're building.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be wrong sometimes, not wrong, but it's going to take you on some windy paths that make no sense. Or you might think, what's the payoff in this, right? And that's ego, because the
Mm-hmm.
ego is always attached to an external like result or outcome.
Validation. I want to be validated that what I
Yeah, but I
did
have
was
good
right for
intuition.
me.
Yeah.
Yes.
That I'm intuitive. Look at me. Like that's the ego, right? But intuition doesn't care. Intuition's like, yo, this is the game of life. Have fun. Get lost a little. Go on these turns. And you never know who you'll meet or what will be around the corner, you know?
No, you don't. I'm with you. I'm learning to be more in tune with the intuition because it's truly fascinating. You don't know answers, and it's very challenging because it feels like you are stepping into a dark room
That's
and your
it.
brain is saying, get out because there may be a bear there that attacks you. And your
I
intuition, no, no,
know.
no, you just stand still and the light will come on soon enough. But it's that discomfort and your question, why? Why am I like, what's the purpose? What am I
Why?
supposed to
Yeah.
learn?
I want
What is
answers.
coming my
I
way?
want
Yes,
answers.
and we as
Yeah.
humans,
That's
it's
ego.
so difficult to just let things happen because we're constantly controlled and our world is like a rat race right now.
Yeah.
It's almost we have to produce results. We have to be on all the time.
Yep.
It's hard to disconnect and just reconnect with true self, who you are.
It's hard, but it's getting easier, I think. And I think we're on a
Yes.
massive collective process of slowing down and recognizing what used to, this old way isn't working anymore. And then really when you start to see the effects or positive quote unquote payoffs of using your intuition, then you start to listen. Then your ego is on board. Do you see what I'm saying? Then your
Yes.
ego is like, hey, I don't know where we're going, but I've seen my intuition at work before, and now I'm kind of digging this process. Do you see what I'm
Yes.
saying? So your then gets in the passenger seat, and your intuition, your soul, your true self gets in the driver's seat.
hmm But it does take a few validations. Like it's still the brain
Of
operates the way it
course, you
operates.
need
We need to
evidence.
get validated that intuition, what you said to us was right. It was truly
Yes.
better for me. Like you knew what you were saying, basically, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
is hard to, again, like I said, just to trust b- because you let go of control completely. Like you feel lost in a way until you find your way again.
It's can I take you through a visualization?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, because since we're on this topic, this is also a practice that I think is really important. It works for my clients, it works for me in that you connect to that unknown part of yourself.
Okay.
Uh, when
I
you
hope I
connect
like
to,
that part of me. Maybe there is a reason it's
sure,
unknown.
why wouldn't you? It's part of you.
Yes, it is. It is. I just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, No, I mean, the thing is, though, you have to go through this is what shadow work is really, is going through the ego sees it as painful parts of ourselves, but it's really parts of ourselves that we denied or dispossessed a long time ago. And you have to get through that dark tunnel before you can get to your true self, truly. And
hmm
I don't mean dark tunnel in terms of like you have to struggle or you have to have external challenges all the time, though that may be your soul's journey.
hmm
Um, I mean the internal part of like accepting that we're the creators of our realities is really difficult. difficult sometimes because you start to own that I
Yes.
was a co-creator of that, relationship with my boss that I hated. And I'm like, like I have responsibility in that. That's the shadow work. But anyway,
Can I do a
um,
quick reference? When I'm thinking of shadow
please.
work, it makes me think there is a meme on Instagram when a bear, as if trying to find a light, going to the bathroom at night, and it goes like this until it finds the switch, and then you illuminate the bathroom. You're like, oh my gosh, I can see again. But until you get to the light switch, it's
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, and really what shadow work is just shedding light on things you don't see. That's it.
Okay.
And it's not just bad, it's also good because a lot of our, let's say if you grew up in a very logical, I grew up in a very like education forward engineer. Everyone was an engineer, very logical, very sensible. That's why I'm the weird woo-woo one, right? And you grow up in that house, then it's not okay to be artistic. It's not
No.
okay to be sensitive. So you grow up learning that those attributes are not okay in this society, in this house, so you unconsciously push them away. And so
Mm-hmm.
it becomes habit, right? And then it's still part of you. It's just hidden. And then
Mm-hmm.
through shadow work, I shed light on those aspects of myself that are more artistic, that are more creative, that are more expressive, that are louder and weird. And you know what I mean? And most people aren't even in touch with those sides of themselves. And think of like how many opportunities we leave on the table because we're just an engineer who can't be creative,
Mm-hmm.
or we're just
Yes.
this and we can't be that. And so we're boxing
Agreed.
ourselves in and we're, shackling ourselves. So really shadow work is the gateway to freedom, to be more yourself. And those parts of yourself are not bad. They're just who you are.
Yes.
So anyway,
All right.
yeah, so you were saying it's hard to connect to intuition. So let's go through a little quick visualization.
Okay.
If we could take a few deep breaths, close your eyes and just feel your feet on the ground and take another deep breath in, just allowing your shoulders to drop, your arms to drop, feeling the chair beneath you, feeling the ground beneath you. And with every deep breath, you feel your breath getting longer and slower. And if you feel yourself becoming more present to the current moment, there's nowhere to be, there's nowhere to go, there's only now. And you can feel the stream of light from the top of your head just streaming down into your scalp, into your skull, smoothing and relaxing every muscle in your face, relaxing your jaw. You feel your tongue drop. You feel your neck relax and your shoulders relax as it streams down into your spine, into your skeleton, your bones, your chest, lighting up all of your internal organs and your tissues and your arteries and your heart, streaming down into your lower body, into your seat, lighting up every chakra along the way, your energy centers, streaming down your thighs, your knees, your calf muscles, and your feet down into the ground, rooting you deep and firmly into the beautiful earth. And as you feel yourself relax more and more, your heart begins to expand with the support of this beautiful divine golden light streaming in. Your heart begins to expand, filling your chest and expanding even beyond your chest outwards It's like a ball of light in your heart that just keeps growing outwards and outwards until it fills the room that you're in, till it fills the building that you're in. And it's just this beautiful, unconditional love. You're powered by it, and it's also emanating from you. And it keeps growing and expanding and sparkling into the state that you're in, and filling the country that you're in. And you can see it begin to flow and wrap around the entire globe. And then expanding into the universe, going beyond the galaxies, passing the planets and encapsulating the planets in the galaxy, this galaxy and beyond. And it's really just infinite. This energy, this love, this life force that is streaming through all of us at all times. If we connect to it, and it's guiding us. And as you're just drifting and floating and enveloped by this beautiful light, I want you in your mind's eye to imagine your higher self appearing before you. Your higher self is part of your true self. She's your higher wisdom, or he, that can sort of transcend the little things, the little irritants and tolerances, and able to see the big picture. See if they have a message for you in this moment. There's a reminder. It's probably something you already know. Receive that message now. And ask this part of you how you can connect on a consistent basis with them and help you feel supported. How can they help you feel more supported every day? Maybe it's through a practice. Maybe it's through intention or a thought. As you're sipping your coffee every morning, you can remember to connect. Whenever you need support or peace or clarity, this wiser part of you that sees beyond your logic and ego. Some call it your intuitive part, is always there. Maybe it can give you a sign that only you know, or a symbol to remind you they're there. And now you can ask them, what is the next best step for me in this moment, even just today, after this meditation? What does my soul need to do or express or embody? Some small step. It could be just laying in the sun. Could be a call that you've been putting off. Could be an idea. Doesn't have to be huge. It can be small. Receive that guidance now. Now, with that wisdom and information and clarity, and even if nothing shows up now, that's okay, because this part of you has been activated, and you will begin to notice them more and more in your everyday life. Thank this part of you for always being there, for always looking out for you, for always guiding you towards your truth, your soul, and your highest good, even when it doesn't feel so great, even when it feels challenging or draining. If you let go and just trust this part of you, it might feel a little bit easier. Send love and gratitude. And filled up still with that beautiful light, you come back from the galaxies, from the universe, from the blackness, the infinite blackness that was the universe, the uncertainty, the unknown is always there. But you trust yourself now, and you begin to arrive and land back in your state, in the building you're in the room you're in this body that you're in, this vessel. And feeling yourself anchoring down that stream of light, going through your arms, your feet, anchoring down like a strong tree in the earth. Feeling your higher self still there in your chest, always carrying you, always protecting you. Sometimes guiding us to do difficult things, but giving us the strength and courage. And with a deep breath, you can come back to the room and open your eyes. How do you feel?
Oh, that was pretty cool. I liked
Amazing.
it.
Oh, good. Yeah. I mean, you can do this on your own anytime, but we get caught up in, you know, the thinking, the overthinking, the
Mm-hmm.
analysis, the chaos, because we live in that kind of world too, you know?
Yes, we do.
So we can
Again,
step out of that. But it's
it
all
feels
the pieces inside.
you just need to dig for it. You need to find it. You need to find that
Connect
still
with it.
moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You have to be deliberate and intentional about carving it out. Yeah. Whether it's meditation, whether it's going for a walk every morning, whether you have that moment, carve out. You deserve that moment, you know, for
Mm-hmm.
yourself to connect to your internal power every day.
True. So I'm sure in your line of work, there are a lot of people who are naysayers. They don't understand, so they reject. We talk about it frequently. We see it, or when people don't want to take accountability for their actions, so it's much easier to blame and say, "Hey, you're wrong and I'm right." So how do you respond to them?
I
Or you just
don't.
don't respond?
Yeah, I don't. Because listen, I have so much respect and reverence for any person wherever they are on their journey. And what I'm saying, the way I'm saying it, may not resonate for them. And that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. But maybe they will pick up a book, you know, that resonates more for them, that's taking them on their journey in a way that resonates more. And
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. And this is also the other thing of like when you become more and more your true self, you begin to find your people more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
True.
as a business owner, you find clients that are resonating more with you because the way I'm showing up is not going to be for everyone. And the things that I'm saying is not going to be for everyone. And it may be that they go to Tony Robbins or they try, somebody else that is more egocentric, and that's fine too. Hey, as long as they're doing the work, as long as they're doing the personal development work, I don't care. But the people who tend to find me have been doing this for many, many years, and they're really much at a point of they're tired of being powerless and they no longer want to be a victim. And so typically they want to take that power back into their own hands. So they're sort of more ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
There have been times, I think in the beginning of my business, where I would kind of contort myself or meet them where they're at. They say that in
Mm.
meet people where they're at. Um, and I think that's okay. And that's an experience for me too. And I think I'm learning that experience as well. But I also know, my human design, my astrology, I'm an Aries. We're very direct. I'm more about efficiency. And I'm like, if we're not aligned anyway, that's okay. So, you know what I mean? So that may not be my task to
Mm-hmm.
meet them where they're at necessarily. But it's, maybe it's something that I need to learn too, meeting the naysayers where they're at.
Maybe. I mean, we all have different paths and lessons to learn. It just seems like you tend to work with people who are ready. Like, yes, we've all had moments where we felt like victim of circumstances, felt sorry for ourselves, but we're ready to move on. Like we're done with that part. We're tired of that. Well, it was me, poor thing, and life is
Yeah.
unfair. No, life is unfair in a lot of instances, and it's just what you do with that and how you maneuver it going forward. The opportunities you seek and what you are willing to see. I think that's the type of people you work with who actually need to be ready for you,
Yeah.
because like you said,
Yeah.
when you went and you decided to get certified, it's not that the coach met you at where you at. The coach said, you want to
Yeah.
be
I
ready,
was
this is where you need
ready
to
to
be.
level up. Yeah, that's right. I was ready for the next level, and that's it. And I think there's a curiosity, so you just keep pulling and like, what's the next thing? And I think that those people are typically the ones that respond best to my depth of work.
But it's also being fearless about seeing parts of who you are that you may not enjoy or you suppressed for a long time. It's like you seeing mirror, like as a woman, we go in the morning, we get up, we're like, I have a little bit of a roll here. I need to work out on that. We don't want to see it, but when we stand in the mirror, it shows to us, whether it's there or not, we're
Um,
seeing it, right? So that's the same with intuitive and energetic and transformational work. You need to be okay to look in the mirror and assess, okay, this is what I am.
yeah.
I love every part
Accepting
of me.
the hardest part sometimes. The first part is accepting where
Yes.
you're at, accepting that you're in a ditch, accepting that you're not happy with your body or you're not happy with your boss or your current job or your income. And that sometimes a lot of people avoid and go, and those are not my people. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's this work is for people that already have been doing years of personal development and they have the awareness and they know, like, oh, okay, like I'm the common denominator here. So what is it about me that is creating these circumstances and is showing me maybe an opportunity to change them?
Mm-hmm.
So
What advice would you give for people who feel stuck? Like stuck or lost?
so, this definition for me has actually changed even as recently as like the last 6 months. Um, there's two parts to it. One is, are you gaining anything from being stuck?
Hmm.
And is it a form of protection to be stuck? So do you notice I'm not trying to get them out of it? I'm just
Mm-hmm.
trying to increase the awareness. So that's really this game is like, okay, I created my stuckness. Why am I stuck? Is there something about this situation that a part
Hmm.
of me uh, wants to be in? And maybe it feels safe. Maybe it feels familiar. Maybe it feels. So that's the first part. And then the second part um, is really this is where the shadow work comes in, is what would life be like if I didn't have to stay here and stay stuck? So getting them to daydream a little bit beyond the stuckness,
Mm-hmm.
because we're only stuck if we believe we're stuck. I know
We
this is
create
like
our,
we're
I
getting out
know.
there, very philosophical. But because in moments, say, I know when I felt stuck, quote unquote, it was a time that I needed to retreat. And, every butterfly has to be in a cocoon first. And so I thought I was stuck because my ego is like, we're not producing what we want to produce. We're not manifesting what we were wanting to manifest, or this shit keeps happening. And so I'm stuck, right? And so it took me a long time to acknowledge that that's my own verbiage that I'm using.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what if you're not stuck? What if you're in a period of slowdown or introspection? And what if this is an opportunity for you to go inwards more deeper?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And maybe
Actually,
what you're calling stuck is at the cocoon, is like a safe place for you to go inwards, to go into the
mhm.
cave.
Well, when you mentioned stuckness is truly driven by expectations that society we feel puts on us, we put
Yeah.
in ourselves. It's the production, it's being busy, regardless. It's us
External
saying,
results.
yes.
Am I creating external results?
But it's not always the case. So when I feel stuck, and as you ask the question, like, what are you supposed to see? My first thought popped up creativity. For me, it's creativity. When I feel stuck, it means I need to think creatively. And of myself, I never thought of myself as creative. I can recreate. That's what I always thought of myself until I started hearing people like, oh, you're so creative. I'm like, are you sure I can't do shit on like, I see things and I recreate. But then now I understand that's not true. So when I'm feeling stuck, it's almost I'm forced to sit down and then my brain opens up and
Yes.
creativity starts flowing in and
You're
you're like, okay,
receiving. That's
I
it.
see what's next.
Because in stillness or dormancy or even sleep and rest is when we're in a receptive mode. This is yin energy. You can't
Mm-hmm.
receive when you're in yang energy because you're executing what came through in the yin, which is necessary too. But there has
Mm-hmm.
to be a space to receive. There has to be a space to receive the creativity, the inspiration, the ideas, the flow, and the rest, frankly, you know?
Mm-hmm. Rest is needed. And I think our bodies right now um, require it more and more because we never stop. And when you mention like the intention in the morning, my first thought when I wake up and I'm like, damn, I'm still so tired.
Yes, me too. I have recognized this for the last, honestly, all of 2025, I've been tired. This is part of the collective energy, because we're all tired, I think. And so I listen to moments of rest. I've had more grace for myself a lot this year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's difficult because you're unlearning a pattern of go, go, go and movement and create all the time. So it's a
Yes.
truth to the ego because it's like, no, I can't be still. Being still is a liability. Rest is a liability. But it's not true. That's not true.
And I also feel a ton of guilt when I'm still and if I'm not producing,
100%.
it's
It's so
it's
crazy because in stillness, we are producing. This is the thing. Even though we don't see it, we are still creative in stillness. It's like
yes.
the cocoon is still cooking, like the steak is still cooking. You can't just throw the steak on the grill and be like, okay, it's done. Let's eat it. You need to wait. You need to allow the shifts to take place, particularly when psychological shifts happen. The
Mm-hmm.
physical takes longer than the energetic. It takes a lot more time for the physical to catch up to the energetic, the internal shifts. And so the mind can't you cannot fast forward it. Urgency is also a sign that you're living in ego, by the way.
What
This,
about impatience? I don't
yeah,
have urgency. I just sometimes I'm like, okay, it's been too long. Come
me
on, it's
too.
time. It's time.
I know, me too. I'm the same way. Impatience, there's no why. What are you, why? What's the, you
It's
know?
again, it's external pressures. Like when I step outside of my shell and of my brain, which is overstimulated and overthinking all the time, I understand. I see way more. And you kind of you accept the world in a very different way. You're like, okay, this is what my body needs right now. This is how, not even how I'm supposed to think. This is where this external pressure is coming from. This is where I need to be. This is what I need to address. But it only when you get an opportunity to step out of yourself. But that's what, again, a lot of people don't allow themselves to do. And that's
The
the challenge.
external pressures, listen, this is totally part of wanting to fit in and to be
Yes.
accepted by society. This is a primitive way of surviving, right? The brain is like, look the same as everyone else. Don't be different. Don't stand out. Don't rock the boat. But that is in direct contrast to the path of individuation and becoming your true self. You are going to forge a different route. You are going to be different. And the sooner you embrace that you cannot be like other people and you don't want to be like other people
Mm-hmm.
or external pressures, you just start to understand that, wow, those external pressures really shaped me. But is that who I want to be? You just want to have the choice. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Instead of being at
Yes.
the mercy of it. And then choose if I want to give in, like, yeah, I want to but it's different when you want to create achievement from a place of, I wonder if I can do this, as opposed to I have to prove to, other people that I know what I'm doing. It's so
Mm-hmm.
different because you're living for you and you're paving your own path. And then through this process, we inspire others too.
Yes.
It
Yep.
ripples out. So the more that you are compliant and trying to fit in with everybody else, then that's the nothing will change. But it's when you internally shift and change and decide, I'm going to be different. The desires that I have are different. The pace that I have is different. Then you become more your true self in practical action.
And on that note, Shadi, thank you so much for being here and sharing your wisdom with us. And thank you, everybody, for listening to Uncoupled and Unfiltered. And now go be uncomfortable so you can connect with your true self.
Thank
Until
you,
next
Ksenia.
time.
Thanks for having me.
That's it for this episode of Uncoupled and Unfiltered. If you're loving the raw truth and practical takeaways, do the badass thing and rate and review the show wherever you listen. It helps more good people find their way out of the chaos. And check the show notes. Yeah, we actually put some useful stuff in there. Resources, links, tools, go grab what you need. Until next time, don't settle, don't shrink, and don't look back.